It'll take time to restore chaos. Bring them on.
It happened as we showed up here.
You're listening to Seattle's Progressive Talk, AM 1090. Now playing online live at am1090seattle.com. Listen live, anywhere, anytime at am1090seattle.com.
AP Radio News. I'm Ross Simpson. Some lawmakers are gravitating toward Mitt Romney's secretly recorded remarks about half of the people in America seeing themselves as victims who are entitled to government programs. Others, however, are running away from those remarks.
While Democrats have seized on Mitt Romney's comment about 47% of the country being dependent on the government, Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid noted a lot of Republicans are distancing themselves from that remark.
A Congressional Gold Medal was presented today to Myanmar's democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi. House Speaker John Boehner says she's been a model for people seeking freedom around the world.
Nearly a quarter of a century ago, Ms. Suu Kyi invited her countrymen to fulfill her father's call to make democracy the popular creed. Today, because of the sacrifices of she and her supporters, that invitation still stands.
From the depths of my heart, I thank you, the people of America, and you, their representatives, for keeping us in your hearts and minds during the dark years when freedom and justice seemed beyond our reach.
The son of a massacre victim of a Sikh temple in Wisconsin, is asking Congress and the federal government to begin collecting statistics on hate crimes against Sikhs. His mother was among 6 people killed at that temple in suburban Milwaukee. This is AP Radio News.
From the mean streets of New York to the hills of Los Angeles, a voice is rising to serve justice.
Don't forget, nothing is really free.
This is the Norman Goldman Show.
Don't boom, vote!
The home of fierce independence, intelligent dialogue, and passionate logic is right here, right now.
If they want more stuff from the government, tell them to go vote for
America. This is the dispenser of fairness. This is the unfiltered truth. This is Norman Goldman.
First segment of the show is always free at normangoldman.com, and the entire show can be had for $5 a month at normangoldman.com. $5 a month gets you the whole show, podcastable on your time schedule and commercial free, with the Beyond the Norm segments included. Tonight's Beyond the Norm segment is a weird study, a weird medical study about a weird finding about chemicals in our bodies. That's tonight's Beyond the Norm. So far, so good. Just checking your memory here. There was a subsequent Court of Appeal decision that said that not only can people and corporations spend unlimited amounts of money, but it can all be kept secret. And they are all keeping it secret, right?
Absolutely.
All right, well, I'm just glad Governor Etch-a-Sketch is, with me here. So we've had this influx of hundreds of millions of secret dollars. They could be coming from offshore. They could be coming from communist China. They could be coming from, Governor Etch-a-Sketch's own Swiss bank account. You never know where they're coming from, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so you just don't know. Well, a federal judge, a federal district court judge, and if you remember senior legal analyst time in days past, there are 3 layers of federal court. U.S. Supreme Court on top, the circuit courts of appeal are in the middle, and the district courts are on the bottom. There's about 700 district court judges spread throughout the United States. The courts of appeal, that middle layer, are regionally based. The 6th Circuit is based in Cincinnati. The 4th Circuit is in the Mid-Atlantic states. The 11th Circuit's down in the Southeast. The 1st Circuit's up in Maine. The 7th Circuit's around Chicago. The 9th Circuit is out here in the West where I am in Los Angeles. You get the idea. Be all in favor of disclosure. And in fact, the McCain-Feingold Act of 2002, which the Supreme Court took big chunks out of in the Citizens United case, McCain-Feingold seemed to say that if you are giving more than $1,000 for what is called, quote, electioneering, then you've got to disclose your identity. There was this lawsuit brought by Congressman Chris Van Hollen, who's one of the top Democrats in the House of Representatives. And he brought this lawsuit, and he got this federal judge appointed in 2011 by President Obama to rule earlier this year that, any of these things that talk about politics is electioneering, and therefore you got to disclose. Has now overturned that. Unanimous 3-judge panel has overturned that. The 3 judges, incidentally, one was appointed by Jimmy Carter, President Carter, way back in the day. Another was appointed by George Herbert Walker Bush, King George I. And the last one was appointed by the illegitimate George W. Bush. So there are your 3 judges, and they said that the rules that the FEC, the Federal Elections Commission, had created made no sense on the federal level, and no private money, no thing of value can be given to anybody running for office. That's really what we need to focus on, and I suggest to you that we create a Grover Norquist-style pledge.
Progressive Talk, AM 1090.
To end childhood hunger here in America by 2015. Learn how at nokidhungry.org. Their next meal could come from you.
You're listening to The Norman Goldman Show, live on Seattle's Progressive Talk, AM 1090.
I had predicted a civil war on the Republican side after the election. I didn't realize they were going to have their civil war before the election. And I'm happy to see it. They deserve it. It's been a long time coming. And I will have details for you in 12 minutes along with economic news.
Hey, Norm, it's MarkTaylor-Canfiel. How are you?
Hi, Mark. What's up?
Well, I'm sort of losing my voice here, but...
I'll feel your pain, Mark. I'll feel your pain.
I wanted to give you a quick report on the Occupy Wall Street anniversary events that took place here. But first, I was just thinking I had this really strange experience the other night. I found myself tweeting back and forth with Keith Olbermann because we were both watching an 18-inning baseball game that was happening at Safeco Field, and unfortunately his team won, but I thought that was kind of weird. I was thinking like maybe I'm starting to become a sports writer or something.
Well, Keith Olbermann is a big sports fan, and I think he's got a little more time on his hands now since all this TV stuff kind of went away.
Yeah, we were literally tweeting back and forth to each other about each inning. But anyway, I thought, that the occupiers in Seattle had a very powerful silent march on the 17th on Monday. They all had dollar bills taped across their mouths and a huge banner that said, "Get money out of politics." And contrary to the usual experience that protesters have in Seattle, there were no major confrontations with the police and no mass arrests. So that's a good thing for Seattle. And people, I think, were just happy to be back together after, watching their encampments being dismantled last fall and sort of struggling through the winter. So people had a great time, and they had a birthday cake, Occupy Wall Street birthday cake, and sang happy birthday to the folks in New York City. And fortunately, unlike the folks in New York City, there weren't a lot of arrests or anything. No. So,
Mark, would you agree with me that the corporate media has now written off Occupy Wall Street, saying the energy is gone, the crowds are gone, it's fizzled out? Would you agree with me that's what the corporate media is saying?
Well, I did take issue with CNN saying that the movement had fizzled, because if you're working on the ground almost every day, you see that activists are working really hard in all these communities on issues like home foreclosures and student debt and all sorts of really important things that they're doing, trying to overturn Citizens United through their own city councils, state legislatures.
Right. Well, Mark, would you
reported?
None of that's being reported. Would you agree with me it's time to get active politically?
I think that's one thing I thought maybe, Norm, that we've actually turned a corner, that there's been a turning point here. Because if you look at last year around the same time, it was all about encampments and mass demonstrations.
Right. Mark, on that note, I got to leave it. But listen, I'd like to talk with you again soon about getting active in the political process. We are back with the economy where justice is served.
Once again, the summer turns to fall, and our thoughts turn to